And a lot what Crawley did goes back to the 30s, even with the connection of the vice president to be Wallace. Another person I came in contact with is Elizabeth Dilling. She had a crusade against communism in the 30s. While she was in Russia, she came across a Soviet guidebook. In the guidebook, she found this: our world revolution will start with China and will end with the United States. And she listed many people who were socialists. The one person she listed was Eleanor Roosevelt. For the first time ever, while Eleanor was still alive, she met with Mikhail Gorbachev. Now listen to this. At a speech at the 70th anniversary of the Bolshevik Revolution, Mikhail Gorbachev said, in October 1917, we parted with the old world, rejecting it once and for all. We are now moving towards a new world, a world of communism. We shall never turn off that road. Now listen to this. Mikhail Gorbachev said this: Barack Obama will rebuild us and bring perestroika to the United States. He also called for Russia to vote for Putin, and he called for the West to take Russia serious as a partner. Norman Mattoon Thomas was a leading American socialist, pacifist, six-time presidential candidate for the Socialistic Party of America. Norman once said this in a 1944 speech: the American people will never knowingly adopt socialism, but under the name of liberalism, they will adopt every fragment of the socialistic program, until one day America will be a socialistic nation, without even knowing it, how it happened. He went on to say, I no longer need to run as a presidential candidate for the Socialistic Party. The Democratic Party has adopted our platform. A quote from Thomas Jefferson: the democracy will cease to exist when you take away from those who are willing to work and give to those who are not. A old saying, you are a slave to the spoken or a master to the non-spoken. On that day of history when Obama and Joe the plumber met, it wasn't that Joe was a certified plumber. It was what Obama said to Joe, that we are down the road into socialism.
My attitude is that if the economy is good for folks from the bottom up, it's going to be good for everybody. If you've got a plumbing business, you're going to be better off if you've got a whole bunch of customers who can afford to hire you. And right now, everybody's so pinched that business is bad for everybody. And I think when you spread the wealth around, it's good for everybody.
To protect its interest, the Israelites in 2008 shot for the first time an experimental warhead that can and will reach anywhere in the old empire of Persia, or what they call modern Iran. There's something you need to know when it comes to Persia. Iran is not mentioned by name in the Bible, whereas Persia is, 29 times to be exact. At a prophecy meeting recently, this tidbit came to light. 28 times Persia is mentioned as allies with Israel. However, on the 29th time, we see a different Persia. It all started in 1935 when Persia's name was changed to Iran. Things went well up to 1979 when the Shah was expelled from the land and the Ayatollah Khomeini took power. Israel seen the handwriting on the wall months before the United States did and moved out all the important documents from the embassy. A hostage crisis developed, and America went under siege and was locked up for 444 days under the Jimmy Carter presidency. The sad thing was America didn't see it coming, and it was in a mad rush to rip up all the important documents when the embassy was broken into. To restore most of the lost information, the young Iranians spent hours and days pasting all the documents back together again to find the secrets that America had found out about them. This is where Persia makes its break as Israel's ally. In the Bible, the 29th and final time mentioned is this very important thing here, is that Persia, which is Iran, is now allied with someone else. This is where we pick up what Ezekiel 38 says about that 29th time. That missile being launched by Israel in 2008 has all to do with Ezekiel 38. Chapter 38 has to do with an invasion against Israel, which comes out of the north. Verse 2 states, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, and tell them, I'm against thee. Where is Magog found? They tell us in Siberia. This Scythian people moved into Russia about 1000 BC and inhabited lands of the Black Seas between Danube and the Don River. The two events came to occur, or had to occur, to transform this prophecy into a current possibility. The first thing is the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948 and Russia's revolution of 1917. Today it is an official, that is, Russia, an anti-God state. What makes Ezekiel 38 so interesting is the mentioning of Russia and Persia now as allies. In the modern world, what do we see? Russia and Iran teaming up against Israel. That is why Israel showed the world they are not second class when it comes to hitting a target. Strategy and to outwit their opponent has always been the communist plan. Reagan pushed to topple the USSR. It only lasted for a short time, but it left America with a $4 trillion deficit. President Hoover once said, Blessed are the young, for they shall inherit the national debt. People forgot. Russia plays to death. Anything to win equals checkmate.